Hey guys, it's Dylan here, bringing you a little bit different of a video today. Uh, I'm doing a tutorial type video. I'm not the best at tutorials, but I'm gonna give it a shot. And this drawing is also gonna serve as my benchmark for 2018. So a year from now, I'll draw the same thing and try to see my progress. But anyways, drawing a Dragon Ball character, or really most kind of cartoon characters, I guess, are really geometric. So I rough out the face with a square, and then I go ahead and just carve out the jaw and other features from there. But it's important to keep all your lines very basic when you're just roughing out the figure, because then and something I do right there is really a nice benefit of the iPad, is you can just resize images whenever you want. Before, if I did that and I was already far along in the drawing, I would just have to cut off where the paper ended. So that's one of the nice things about switching to digital media. And so yeah, I'm just doing very basic shapes of the ears and everything. And I believe I go ahead and rough out where I want the eye line to be on both the figures. And then I noticed that Vegeta's widow's peak is a little too shallow, so I adjust that. And then I put in where I want the nose to be. It's very triangular shape, as you might guess. And this is kind of like you're looking up at their face, so you can see the bottom of the nose. And you're going to want to keep that perspective in mind when you're doing the rest of this drawing. And then the face, or not the face, the mouth is pretty much just a square with rounded edges. Kind of looks like a piece of toast. Or at least I think so. Then I go ahead and rough out the teeth, but you really don't have to do that. There's no point in adding detail in until you have a basic shape that you really like. So now I'm pretty sure about the face, so I go ahead and add in the eyebrows, which I'm getting better at. I've never been too confident with the eyebrows in Dragon Ball, but I think I'm getting better at them. Then I add in where I want the pupil to be, and then I don't think I have it here yet, but I think I'll go back and adjust it later. You want to curve the bottom of the eye line, because you are looking up at the character. The eye gets cut off by, I assume, where the cheek would be. And then I just add in some rough lines, which are really an unnecessary detail because it's not a final drawing yet. It's just a sketch. And then I also add in a couple lines for the eyebrow and that little indentation on Vegeta's forehead. And Vegeta's body, or really all the bodies that we're going to be looking at, can be three lines. The neckline that comes from the bottom of the ear, the shoulder line, and the in-between. It's like the trapezius something. I believe that it's like the neck muscle, pretty much. And I add in a couple different neck details and where Vegeta's shirt comes to. And now I go ahead and put the armor in, and that little strap that Vegeta has. And that's pretty much the rough sketch of Vegeta done. And now Goku, you have the neckline, and I think I draw in a little squiggle for his Adam's apple, or I don't know the formal name for that. Then his neck muscle, and you want to pay attention to the differences between Goku and Vegeta, because even though when they're side by side like this, they look like almost the same character, certain differences are going to really help, tell them apart and see who's who. And yeah, that's pretty much the basic sketching. The Super Saiyan hair is pretty straightforward, but you'll see it when I get to it. And that's pretty much all you need to know for the sketching. Okay, and we're back. This is pretty much the final sketch, so now on to the fun part. Or at least I think the fun part. Oh yeah, and then that little cut, I inked the whole image with just a pen to get the final line work. So now you want to get your palette or whatever. You can do this with traditional media too. I'm just doing this on an iPad. And then you want to put your medium tone, or that's what I prefer, down across all of the skin that's going to be showing. You don't have to be super accurate because, or especially when you're doing digital like this, when you do layers, it's not going to show up. So there's no point in having accuracy as of now. But it's good to, I guess, keep a good habit if you're doing this on with markers and paper like I was for a long time. So now I go ahead and find a nice middle tone, and you want that in that space under the eye in a triangular shape. And even though I am looking at the reference, you want to make sure that the shadows make sense in your head, because there's a difference that I've learned from understanding where shadow should be and just putting it there because it's in the picture, because I think that it will help me later on. I mean, I'm not an expert at it yet, but making sense of shadows and light and highlights will really help make your drawing not only look more appealing, but just kind of look more realistic in general. Not that Dragon Ball characters are in any sense realistic, but I think you get what I'm talking about. So yeah, just block in where you want the darker shades and the lighter shades. I think I leave the ear alone for a while, but it's really just making sure that you're keeping your lines consistent, and this is called cell shading, I believe. Not Cell the villain, but cell as in like a section. Cell shading. So if you want to make sure that you keep your lines very straight and not try to be confident when you're drawing, I guess, and it'll help with the illusion later on. Now I go ahead and put down the lightest tone for the hair, because it'll be easiest when you go in and add your middle and your darker tone to make those highlights, I believe. And so this is Vegeta's new form, actually, that just got debuted in episode, what are we on now? God, 124, I believe. So this is actually darker than the normal Super Saiyan Blue. I honestly don't, I think I'm a fan of this form. It was pretty cool to draw, and it looks better in the episode that just came out than when I first saw it. But anyway, yeah, it's darker than the normal Super Saiyan Blue, and that'll help contrasting when we have Goku finished next to him. And you'll see how really different it is when I add in the darkest blue shade. And yeah, like I said before, I believe, just try to make sure that you're really keeping these lines as straight as possible. Because if you notice, I'm going back and fixing my initial lines, because if you pay attention to where that little spike is, the second one from the top, the lines are really not sharp, so it's kind of ruins the illusion. So I go back and fix that later. And now I'm trying to be as neat as possible. On the iPad, you can kind of really just fill in, but I try not to get in a bad habit, because when I do switch to traditional art, when I do feel like doing that, it helps to not have bad habits. Like that, hitting undo. Sometimes you get too accustomed to the the luxuries of digital media, I guess. But I think I'm trying to be responsible and not make too many bad habits. So yeah, just go in and add your darker tones. It's pretty straightforward. And now we move on to probably my favorite part of the drawing, is the aura. So this, with a digital media like I'm using, the iPad, it's actually much easier, and I don't know, I think it's more satisfying because you can get a lot of those digital kind of effects that they use in the real show. You can achieve the same kind of effects on like paper and pencil, but it's very difficult and you need to be a very skilled artist, which I don't think I'm quite there yet. But if you want to see an example of that, I'd go check out Eld Art. He is probably one of the best artists on YouTube right now, in my opinion. But yeah, now I'm just gonna finish up Goku, doing the same steps I followed for Vegeta, and that's gonna wrap it up. If you enjoyed videos like this, let me know, but I probably won't release too many of them because they take a while to edit. But yeah, subscribe if you like this kind of content, and stick around to see more. I'll see you guys later. Bye.